Hi everyone, it's Ingrid here and welcome back to a new video. If you can't tell, I'm in a new location because I moved and I managed to forget my camera charger at my parents' house. So right now I'm actually filming on my computer, as I'm hoping that this turns out alright because I've never filmed on my computer before, so I'm sorry if the quality is not how it usually is. I'm sorry that I haven't uploaded a video in a while. I did upload a reading vlog, so I'll have that one linked down below if you want to check it out. Yeah, life was just crazy. I went sailing, I moved place, my computer broke, but I finally had to fix. I just had to get a new hard drive. Life's been busy, but I did manage to read 5 books in the month of July. I also did read 5 graphic novels, but I'm going to do a separate wrap up for the graphic novels. So if you want to hear about the 5 graphic novels that I read in July, I'll have that video linked down below when it goes up, or you should subscribe and it will come into your subscription box once it's uploaded. So I'm sorry if my voice is a bit dark. I'm having a cold right now, but I just wanted to film, so I'm gonna go with it. So yeah, as I said, in July I read 5 books, and it was a mix of books. I had 1 5-star book, 2 4-star books, 1 3-star book, and 1 2-star book. So I feel like we got a little bit all over the place. I also participated in the readathon, so 2 of the books I finished in July was also for that readathon. And 3 of the books that I finished this month were actually audiobooks, and 2 of them were ebooks, so none of the books I read do I have a physical copy of. So I'm just going to scoot over and I will show you all of the books on the screen when I talk about it. So the first book that I finished was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and this book, guys, was absolutely amazing. So I listened to this book on audiobook, and the audiobook was amazing. This story follows Evelyn Hugo, who is a Hollywood star, and it's about her life because she's now an old woman, and it's about how she got famous and her 7 husbands and just her life in general, and it's so good. I never actually planned on picking this book up, but everyone just kept talking about it, and I think it was when Emma from Emma Books, I'll have her channel linked down below, talked about how she didn't think she would like it, but she picked it up and she loved it. And so I saw that my library got the audiobook, so I was thinking I might as well just give it a go, and if you haven't read it, just do yourself a favor and pick it up. It's more like a historical fiction that reads like a chick lit, and I do like historical fiction, but I'm not a big fan of chick lit, so I did not think I would love this book so much, but it was amazing, and I think I've said that 3 times now, but this is one of my new favorite books of all time. It is up there in probably top 5. It just deals a lot with sexuality and life of being famous, and it was just so great. I don't know how to express my love for this book. It's just so different from anything I've ever read before, so I don't have anything to compare it to either, but just pick it up. Just pick it up. So if I didn't say, I gave that book easily 5 out of 5 stars. And then the next book has a title that's quite similar, but this was my 2-star book of the month, so I did not like it nearly as much. And that is the 7.5 or 7, depends on if it's the UK or the US version. But the one I read was called 7.5. That's of Evelyn Hardcastle. And this one is a mystery book where you're following a man that wakes up in a different body every day, and he has to figure out who killed Evelyn Hardcastle. And people have been loving this book a lot, especially here on BookTube, and I didn't care for it. I was bored. I didn't find it exciting. I figured out some of the stuff along the way. There was one of the big plot twists at the end I thought was common knowledge. So I kind of wish that I just left it, to be honest. It didn't feel worth my time. It had kind of a Black Mirror sort of vibe to it. I do like mystery, but I just didn't really care. I think because he wakes up in a different body every day, you don't really get to connect with the character because he himself doesn't really know who he is. And so it's just really hard to care. And if I don't care about the characters, I don't really care what happens to them. So to me, this was a big letdown because as I said, everyone's been loving it, and I do know that I'm having the popular opinion here. If it sounds interesting, you might give it a go, but in my opinion, it just wasn't worth it. The next book that I read was Peter Darling, and this was the first book that I read for the retell-a-thon, and this is a Peter Pan retelling. If you're new to my channel, my name's Ingrid. I love Peter Pan, and this is a retelling where Peter Pan and Wendy is the same person. So it's about Peter Pan being a transgender boy and his struggles, and he's returning to Neverland and just coming to terms with who he is and his sexuality, and it was great. It was really good. I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't perfect, but it was really good, and I listened to this on audiobook, and I liked the narrator as well. And it was definitely an interesting take on Peter Pan. I've never read a transgender retelling of Peter Pan before, so I did really like that, and I really liked the characters. The reason why I didn't give it that 5-star rating was because I felt the story felt a little flat for me. There wasn't a lot of plot. I feel like this story could have been 100 pages more and it would be more interesting. They could have done more with the story itself. I felt like it kind of went a bit too fast. So if I could change anything, I would put on like another 100 pages and make the characters have a bit more adventure before the ending. But all in all, it was a really great retelling, and I'm happy to have read a transgender retelling of Peter Pan. The next book that I read was also for the retell-a-thon, and that is Isle of the Lost, which is the first book in the Descendants. Not sure if it's a trilogy or a quartet. This one I gave 3 stars. It was okay. I have already watched the Descendants movie because I'm trash for anything Disney, and I didn't know going into this that this was a prequel to the movie. My expectations were a bit off because I thought it was the movie but in book form. So I was kept waiting for things to happen that didn't happen because it was a prequel. But all in all, it was an okay book. So we're following 4 kids that are the kids to some Disney villains like Maleficent, Cruella de Vil, the Evil Queen, and Jafar. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. The bad guy in Aladdin. And we're following their kids, and they go on an adventure together and kind of form a friendship. And then you're supposed to watch the Descendants movie, which I watched again. To me, the characters felt a little flat and didn't feel like they stood out from each other that much. They were all kind of evil but not really evil. It just felt kind of done before, and it was entertaining enough, but there was something lacking. I didn't really connect with the characters, didn't really care what happened, and you can kind of guess where everything's going anyway. So it was just okay. I gave it a 3-star. I think I will continue with the books though, because as I said, I'm trash for anything Disney. We'll see. I'm gonna have to subscribe to my channel and see in my next wrap up if I've actually continued or not. I might. I'm still not sure. If you've read them, please let me know in the comments what you think of them. And then the last book that I read in July was Waking Gods, which is the sequel to Sleeping Giants. And I believe I talked about Sleeping Giants in my June wrap up. So I'll have that one linked down below if you want to hear my thoughts on that. Because I won't go too much into the plot because it is a sequel, so I don't want to spoil anything. It was a good sequel. I gave it 4 stars. I listened to the audiobook and I really, really recommend the audiobook. It's great. The audiobook has a full cast of characters. So the book is written mostly in interviews and a few video diaries, and because of that I'm having trouble connecting with the characters because you only hear what they're saying to others. You don't really hear their thoughts. So I feel like I'm kind of missing that connection, like actually knowing what they think and why they do what they do. So that's my only reasoning really for not giving it 5 stars, because the story is amazing. Even though I'm not quite sure how they're gonna do the 3rd book, because I feel like I'm kind of happy where the story is now. I don't really need a 3rd book. So I'm still kind of iffy about reading the 3rd book or not, because I feel like I'm happy where it is now. So we'll see if I do end up picking up the 3rd one. But if you're going to read these books, I highly recommend doing the audio. So this is sci-fi books, and the first book follows the scientist that has found a giant hand, and they're trying to find all the other parts to this big robot thingy. If it sounds interesting, definitely check it out and maybe try the audiobook. So that was it for my wrap-up part. I will add just a little TBR. I'm starting uni this month, so I'm not sure how much time I actually have for reading and stuff, but there are a few books that I want to get to. So the first book I want to read this month is one that I've already started because I'm filming this on the 12th of August, and that is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This is a fantasy, I think it's YA, I'm not quite sure, might be though, I'm not really sure, but it's fantasy and it's about 4 different Londons. So there's a red London, a grey London, a white London, and a black London, and we're following a character that can move between these 4 worlds. So I'm only about 60 pages in, and it's good so far. Not amazed, but I really want to finish this. I'm doing a buddy read. I'm also reading it for the ADSO read-along. Is that what they're calling it? I'll have the Twitter account for the read-along down in the description if you want to check it out. So far, so good. So I will definitely finish this one up in August so that I can tune in for the live show that they're going to do and share my thoughts on the book. Also, let me know if you're participating in that read-along. The next book I want to read is another one that I barely started, and that is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. This is a cutesy romance that is being made into a movie, and I believe the movie comes out on Netflix this month, so this is why I feel like I need to read it right away. I'm only on chapter 5, which is 27 pages in, so I'm not far into it at all, but I do like the writing style this far, so I'm excited to finish reading it so that I can watch the movie. And then the last book I'm going to add to my TBR is Winter, which is the conclusion to the Lunar Chronicles. I've been putting off reading this book because I love this series so much and I just don't want it to end. But I've been just thinking about these characters a lot, and so I needed to finish it up. So I'm currently listening to the audiobook, which is great. I love the narrator. And I am scared for it to finish, and I'm scared of what's going to happen to my favorite characters. But I will most likely finish this audiobook this month, and you can hear about it in my wrap-up. That was it for my video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to hear about the graphic novels that I read, then definitely subscribe so that you will get notified. If not, I will have it linked in the description when it does go up. And let me know in the comments what books you've read lately, what you're currently reading, have you read any of the books that I talked about. And also, I made a Twitter account, and it's been really fun. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'll have my Twitter, is it called username? I'll have my Twitter thing down below, so you can follow me there and on Goodreads. And I will see you in my next one. Bye.